Hey everybody, Peter Zeihan here, coming to you from extremely foggy Colorado. We are continuing kind of a two-part one here and something that's going on with the Chinese and their inability to govern or enter into negotiations. So the new news from the 5th of July is that the Chinese are restricting exports of a couple of materials to the United States, materials that are used in green technologies and semiconductor industries, specifically germanium and gallium. Now, for those of you who've been following me for a while, you know that when it comes to things like rare earths, I'm really not concerned because all we have to do is kind of turn on the processing capacity that we've already built, and then within a few months, the Chinese supplies don't matter at all. This doesn't fall into that category. Gallium and germanium are not rare earths. They're co-produced with other ores, so it's not that the extraction is particularly difficult, but this is something where we would have to build up the processing capacity first before we can get around to this being a problem. I still don't think it's a major problem for two reasons. Number one, for people who are willing to admit that it's something that's becoming increasingly obvious, the bilateral relationship between the United States and China is hostile. It's becoming more hostile by the second, and the incapacity of the Chinese system to even enter into meaningful negotiations means it's only going to get worse. Part of the issue is that Chairman Xi has so purged the system that China is not even capable any longer of having good faith negotiations. And even if it was capable of good faith, it couldn't handle the technical details because Chairman Xi would have to do it personally, and then he would have to implement it personally because he's purged the system throughout China of anyone who is even marginally competent. So the capacity of China to even act as an actor, much less a good faith actor, economic coercion. The Chinese said flat out that this was a hostile move designed to punish the United States and that more was coming. But when you look at what's going on, something to be all that worried about. So this is not something where the Chinese have any more than a passing advantage to produce in this way, in this in-your-face warrior way. for something that ultimately is easily replaceable is probably the most effective way that I can think of getting the United States past dependency on the Chinese in general, and honestly destroying their tech sector in its entirety. Now, there's some political decisions that have to be made in the United States on both sides of the aisle, on Capitol Hill, in the White House, and on and on and on. But the United States is in the mood for this. The competition, now that we're entering political season for the next election cycle, is who can be most anti-Chinese. It's just a question of whether or not you're going for decoupling or de-risking or resourcing. I mean, everyone has their own preferred term, but the bottom line for almost everyone is how to end the dependency. And the Chinese are really being very helpful in encouraging us to move that forward. All right, that's it. Take care.